So I want to have a bit of what I'm sure is going to be a longer discussion video, you know better than I do at this point, about the toxic, to put it bluntly, community post that I made a couple of days ago when my emotions were still very much raw after completely scrubbing out worst I've ever done in my 17 years of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively at the regional in Kissimmee, Orlando, Florida. And I want to go through everything because even though I've been playing this game for so long, I want to explain where my mindset was and kind of where it still is and where I'm coming from, because it really just hit me in such a way that it opened my eyes to a lot of the crap in Yu-Gi-Oh! That me and I guess a lot of other players just deal with at some point or another. And I need to get this off my chest so I can better explain to you guys why I made that post and where I'm coming from. So again, I just want to dive right into it here. I don't want to be sitting here for an hour spewing a telenovela. But the post here says, well, went to the regional today. Well, actually, it's 3 days ago, but went to the regional today. I'm glad I didn't do a round by round. I got clapped by Rogue Scrubs all day, which I did. I'm honestly getting sick of this dog shit game. Round one, I got a draw with a branded player who said he hasn't played in 2 years and didn't know what my Rise All cards do. He did not know a single damn thing what my cards did. Didn't slow play me, but may as well had. He activated Thrust when we were getting close to time and went to go set talents, and I confirmed to him that setting the talents was fine, and then I reminded him it's not going to his hand. He's setting it, and then he just kind of stared at his board for a couple seconds. Meanwhile, we're getting low on time. I could have called a judge, but there was only like 15 to 20 seconds on the clock. It really wouldn't have mattered, even if he did just set the talents and pass, because at that point, there's maybe only a few seconds on the clock. Maybe I get to main phase at that point, but it is what it is at that point, right? So I went on to say, didn't slow play me, but he may as well had. Round 2 lost to an Odeon scrub, and round 3 lost to a shit Blue Eyes player. I hate this fucking game. We need a ban list. And I got a mix of comments on this post. Some people, one buddy of mine, who said, hey, just take the L and move on. Don't be toxic. And other people who were like, one person said, hey, just go to Pokemon. Like, just do that. Side note on that, I've tried Pokemon. I've tried like the official simulators and things. It doesn't tickle my fancy. I love the games, but the card game, the video games are cool, but the card game, I can't do it, man. I've tried and it's just not for me. And taking the L and moving on with all of the BS that happened at this event is very difficult to do for a competitive player like me. And then, of course, I got the trolls who were like, womp womp, cry harder, blah, 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 skill issue, whatever. And to those players, obviously, they're just trolling. They don't understand everything that I went through or have been playing for so long that when shit like this happens, right, it reminds you, it opens your eyes, if you will, of how garbage this game can be. Everything from the player base, not always, but occasionally, and the lack of good prize support. Who in the fuck looks at a core TCG regional, because this was specifically not core TCG, but the fact that Konami allowed this goes to show how garbage they think of their player base, that you would go to a core TCG regional to win a fucking air fryer that you could get for $40 on sale at a Costco. Because Yu-Gi-Oh players are going to be cooking in an air fryer because they actually cook food and they don't go to fast food. That's why they're all so insulin resistant. Other point I want to make before moving on is that I'm not directing any of this at my local community here in Jacksonville, Florida. The Jacksonville Yu-Gi-Oh community is actually a really great community. I think it's gotten nothing but healthier over the years that I've been playing. So this is all the things I say. This isn't by no means me trying to attack, a certain person in this community. This isn't me trying to attack a certain person in the Yu-Gi-Oh community at large. This is just me expressing my frustrations and things that I noticed, especially at this regional, that really have opened up my eyes to how shit the game can be. There are a lot of times it can be good, but there's a lot of times it can be crap. It's kind of like the old meme where it's like sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. And in this case, it was shit. And so I was really frustrated at the fact that, for one thing, I had to drive 3.5 hours to this regional, right? Normally there's some family that I stay with that's closer to town, but they were sick, not feeling well, and then that's not a big deal. But you drive 3.5 hours to a regional. hoping to at least do decently. I show up to the place, the convention center, which is called Silver Spurs Arena. You can look up their website. And the reason why I say to do that is because on their website, it says parking is free. For all events, parking is free. Now, I emailed them and said, why was I charged $10? And the person was like, oh, I only deal with the rodeo arena. But from what I understand, all the other events are you have to pay to park, which is not true. Because number one, again, it's on the website, it says all parking for any event is free. Number two, I have been going to this Silver Spurs Arena for Yu-Gi-Oh! Regionals for like 15 years. Like they started up a couple years after I started playing competitively, getting into, the competitive side of the game and not just playing casually. And it's always been free to park. Now, there were some players who are like, oh, well, I got here at 7 o'clock in the morning. That was before they set up. I didn't have to pay to park. Fair enough. But no one knew at this regional, everybody I talked to did not know that you were going to have to pay to park. There is nothing on Silver Spurs Arena's social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, that says, hey, if you're coming to our place of business, the parking lot itself, you're going to have to pay $10 to park. And I guess the reason why they were charging the $10 to park was because there was a jiu-jitsu tournament going on next door to the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament in the separate convention center building. And so allegedly this was a third-party company charging people $10 a car to park. But even if you're a third-party company, even if you're outsourced by the convention center itself, you have to adhere to the rules of the convention center. That's typically how third-party contracts and things work. So how the fuck are you getting people to pay $10 for parking when the arena itself on their website says it's free to park? You would think that there would be some sort of issue in a third party, allegedly a third party, being able to do that, because that goes against the convention center, what they talk about with having free parking itself, if that makes sense. So I'm already really annoyed that I had to waste $10 to park. Then I go into the regional. Doors are supposed to open at 9. They open at 9:07. That's whatever, not a big deal. We go to get in line for registration. And of course, you have these asshole players, these big ass players too. It was a big ass dude with a big ass backpack. He tried to get under the rope for a line, as if you're getting in a line for a Disney ride. He breaks the strap on the line, doesn't care to fix it, and just tries to duck under it. And his big ass book bag hits the strap and breaks it. And he just stands first in line like an asshole. So I'm like, okay, well then that's a thing. Then, as if that wasn't enough, for some reason, the schmuck who was in front of me in line started talking to two people behind me in line and said, oh, hey, you actually went around the line, bro. Go ahead and cut in front of me. So he not only cut off the two people behind me, but then he cut me in line to cut the person in front of me. I understand it's just registration, but it's shit like this that pisses me off when everything is compiling on top of each other. But I'm the asshole, right? So all that happened. Then we're standing in line for, I kid you not, about 20 minutes to register for the event, to pay and give my license and give my deck list registration, all that. We all stood there for 20 minutes as the line continued to build up when the event is supposed to start at 10. They never start on fucking time. I wonder why. But standing there for 20 minutes and it looked like nothing was happening. And then they had one computer set up and the person was just sitting there doing nothing. Meanwhile, the other two computers to register people were empty. Then when they finally opened it up, there was the one computer open. So I want to word this professionally. I have never had an issue with the staff, the tournament organizers for this specific regional location. In fact, I would actually say 99% of the time, it's ran beautifully. And so I don't know if maybe some judges or some staff members called out or couldn't make it. There was a car accident. They were late, whatever the case was. But it seemed to run very poorly. And there were some judges there that I didn't recognize that weren't part of the normal crowd. So maybe they didn't have the experience of the judges who are normally there. And I get that. Sometimes there's hiccups along the way. And I am by no means blaming the judges, especially because the judges don't get paid enough to deal with basement-dwelling Yu-Gi-Oh players, a lot of who are I'm sorry, but a lot of them come off like this, cosplaying assholes who try to act cool but are just nerds and losers. And huh? Like the judges don't even get paid, they get product. So like the judges shouldn't have to be dealing with this shit. There was a dude who got disqualified from this regional for playing with marked cards. And he was saying that he wasn't. He got upset. He cussed out the judges and he got disqualified and got banned. Like that never happens at Kissimmee. I could see that happening down south, like where I went for some other regionals where some toxic shit had happened that I've talked about before. But to happen here in Kissimmee, like stuff like that never happens. Usually the player base is really chill. And for whatever reason, like there were so many rogue players. You could argue I got varianced out because I played against a scrub who hadn't played the game in 2 years and has to read all my shit and then tries to rule shark me when like almost a turn later I realized I couldn't summon a detonator because I already had one up with Rise All Cross, so you can't summon Xyz with the same name. So I had to reverse the game state, and then I didn't let him use Albaz's effect. He goes, I let you take back the detonator. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, because that's a game state issue, not a play calling issue. You already said you're not activating the fucking effect while you're playing for 10 minutes, not knowing what you're doing, because you don't know how Rise All functions, and you had to read detonator 6 times. I almost called a judge on him because I thought he was slow playing, and that kind of shit pisses me off. So we end up getting a draw because he sucks at the game. And now I'm sure at this point, people are going to say, well, Avery, this is where the toxic side of you is coming out. Look, should I have made that community post, hindsight being 2020? You know what? No, I shouldn't have. I should have turned off my phone. I should have just walked outside, taken a breather, and said, fuck this format, and just chilled out. I made over $400 selling my deck and stuff. I should have just focused on that and said, you know what? Today wasn't to be the day. I didn't get time to play test on paper. Didn't know how well I was going to do anyway. It is what it is. The problem is that, again, to grow this channel, I have to do well at the game. I don't make casual content. I don't make anime-related content. I think that content is stupid. I think it's really just unappealing. Like, I don't really care to watch that kind of stuff, unless it's like TGS anime where, like, was Yugi about to beat Joey Wheeler? Like, as an example, like that stuff's interesting, right? But I'm not going to make like an episode review of like an anime episode like that. That's just not what this channel is. This channel is dedicated to being a competitive based landscape, a competitive based channel to help you as a player get better and listen to someone who's not going to BS you. I'm not going to tell you something has a chance at being good when it's dog water. I've been testing the Regenesis cards. I think they're pretty cool. Are they dog water? Pretty much, yeah. Because unless the Fiendsmith cards get hit, you may as well play the Fiendsmith engine instead because it's just better. And so for people who want that content, who want the truth, who aren't a shill, who aren't getting bought out by Konami, are going to listen to me, or they're going to listen to someone like me so I can help build up my channel and build up my brand. So the staff and the judges, hiccups happen. It is what it is. I think that more compiled because of the fact that I was pissed about everything else. I give them a pass. I don't like the fact we all had to wait in line for 20 minutes and that 2 assholes cut me off in line, but it is what it is. But then we get to the bad players, where I'm losing because of a lack of preparation because I don't test for table 500 decks. Branded is a very irrelevant deck right now in this format. Why am I going to prepare for Branded? Then there's the Odeon player who apparently already got his invite. Like, I think he said he got like a top 8 or something. And then he's playing dog shit with the Odeon deck. And he's like, yeah, I'm just chilling and whatever. And then he decides to be more of an asshole and show off his side deck because he forgot his side. So he just made it out of stuff from his binder, like 3 MSTs and whatever. So now he's just like being more of a troll. And I'm like, I'm trying to be respectful, but in my mind, I'm thinking like, bro, I don't need to see your side. Like, at this point, you're just being an asshole. Like, just mark off the slip that you won, go away, and like, let's just move on with our day. And he wasn't even that good of a player. He only won because he won the die roll. So now I'm in the position, and then not even to mention the scrub Blue Eyes player that basically beat me just because I what was it? I bricked. Like, that was really it. So now I drop, I sell my deck and whatever. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, am I actually as good as I am? Or did I just get varianced out? Meanwhile, I'm hearing Yu-Gi-Oh players like squealing like schoolgirls to like their friends or something, just being weird and just acting like idiots. There's a dude dressed up like Where's Waldo. I don't understand why players cosplay to regionals. Like, if it's like an anime convention, that's one thing, but like to a Yu-Gi-Oh regional, like, please stop that shit. It's really fucking annoying and it makes you look weird. Like, just stop. And like, I get that not every Yu-Gi-Oh player has common etiquette. Like, a lot of these guys just sit around, get fat, and play Yu-Gi-Oh all day. But then to me, it's like, I get so pissed and I realize how toxic this is that I'm like, again, this isn't every player, but the ones who like really shine out, who are just kind of acting sus and nerdy and weird. And I'm like, I don't relate to those kinds of players. Like, I feel like I relate more to the players who like show up, chill, respectful, just trying to play. And like, maybe they've got a girlfriend, like maybe they got a wife and kid. Like, that's cool, man. Like, you're making time to play a game that you enjoy. Meanwhile, you've got a family. You're not putting these sussy, like, not safe for work anime waifu stickers on your car and like driving a shit bucket car. Like, take pride in yourself. Clean up your car. Like, even if you're driving something like less affordable, like a Honda Civic, you don't have to show up in a Maserati. Just make it clean. Like, look presentable. It all compiles into this thing where I'm like, I don't relate to the Yu-Gi-Oh player base, what seems to be a majority of players. Again, I'm not trying to call out like any specific person. I'm just saying there are some players who, I guess, break the mold so much that it looks like the majority and not the minority. But I'm like, man, I would, even if someone paid me money to cosplay looking like an ass to a regional, I wouldn't do it because I just have pride in myself. Like, it's just weird, man. And I know that is going to sound mean to some people, and I'm really not trying to come off like that. It's just that that's where my mindset went to when I scrubbed out so bad at this regional. Like, I wish that everybody was like the people in my Jacksonville community, where like everyone's just chill. Like, they're into rap music and stuff, and like, you know, some anime and stuff, but like they don't make that their persona. They're just a normal human being. I don't know, man. I think I just got dealt a bad hand at this regional where it just seemed like nothing went right. But I wanted to take the time and explain where my headspace is at, that I'm this pissed over it, or rather was. I'm kind of getting myself more worked up than anything. But I was so pissed in the heat of the moment at this event when like I'm playing for a rubber mat, a deck box, and if it was a core TCG ran event, a fucking air fryer that I'm never going to use because I don't cook. Just like the majority of Yu-Gi-Oh players don't cook because they get fast food or ramen or some shit. Like, that's the majority of the Yu-Gi-Oh player base. Like, I know some Yu-Gi-Oh players that like actually cook and stuff and all that, but like, do you think Robbie Cole's using an air fryer? Come on, son. Ain't nobody out here trying to use an air fryer, especially for a prize support for Yu-Gi-Oh. I'd rather get a Steam Deck at that point. Like, I'd rather get a PS5 at that point. I already have a PS5 that you can see right here. So, guys, I apologize about the rant. I apologize for what I said. At the same time, I made day 2 of YCS Orlando. I know for a fact I'm one of the better players. I knew for a fact going into that regional, I was one of the better players in that room, and no one was going to be able to convince me differently. Did I sound like an ass when I made that post? Yes. Should I have made the post? No. But this is also where the mind of a competitive player goes when I know I'm one of the better players in the room and I'm getting just absolutely killjoyed by scrubs who just don't know how to play the game to a fundamental level as much as I do. You could argue I got varianced out, and I hate sounding like one of those big ego players, but at the same time, I want to explain where my mindset comes from. Am I saying I could beat someone like Jesse Cotton? Probably not. On a good day, yeah, I could. And I don't let someone's name as a quote-unquote pro player in the community scare me away from that. They're another person like I am, and possibly I'll beat them. If I don't, then I don't. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I really appreciate you hearing me out. Thank you for waiting until the end of the video to comment. I'm not going to quit making content because I really enjoy making content. I just really need to get off my chest what's been running through my head about this game, because sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really crap, and I've got nothing but respect for the staff and judges that put on these regionals. I really just wish I didn't have to pay $10 for parking, because that was a crock of shit. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.